Alright guys, why don't you join me as I get ready to pretend that I am not completely falling apart. I was gonna call this Get Ready With Me to Pretend I've Got My Shit Together, but I don't know the rules for YouTube. And I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to cuss within the first couple minutes. So that's gonna get bleeped. And I just dropped my micellar water all over my desk, so I picked it up and now we may have glitter in our very first step, which is, you know, fun and absolutely not proving that I've got my shit together. And I cussed again. So clearly I do not. Do I care? Not particularly. Do I know that my next step is toner and will take care of that? Yeah, so, you know, it is what it is. This channel does not know yet that Sinatra is no longer with us. The video right before this one was the letting a random number generator choose my makeup. And in that one, I talked about how Sinatra was not doing so well. And that is why I had changed my plans on what I was going to do from a full glam makeup to random number generator, because it would take less time to do. And I had needed that time to take care of Sinatra. And this past Wednesday, today is Monday, and it is June. Gosh, yeah, we're already in June, you guys. June 2nd. And Wednesday, we had an appointment at the local no-kill shelter. Initially, it had been listed on the books as a potential euthanasia appointment. And because they are a no-kill shelter, part of the appointment is a vet appointment. So what they do is they evaluate the animal, dog or cat, probably, you know, small animals, bunnies, whatever, as well. And then, you know, you go in, you say why you think it would be the humane thing, the moral thing to euthanize your pets, put them out of their suffering, and, you know, say why you think that, you know, what are their symptoms, and, you know, show videos or whatever you have them, and you present your pet. And so that's what we did. We took Sinatra in and, you know, we talked about the bad things, but we also showed the good things. You know, Sinatra had been, the previous couple days, been showing some more strength. So if you follow me on TikTok, you know, I always mention the TikTok camera, which shows me much more pale. It's, you know, vertical, and I do the little clips, which is different from shooting on the YouTube camera. You already know what's happened, but he had started to walk much better. He was showing signs of, you know, regaining his strength. He wasn't actually walking as such, but he was putting more weight on his back legs. He was doing more of a hop versus kind of a drag. At one point, I did think he was mostly paralyzed in his back legs. He was functionally incontinent, but he was starting to show more strength. He had started kind of moving out to be with us. Even in one of the last videos I did, I had stopped because he had started meowing. He was kind of under the desk here, and I thought those were good signs. But then the day of, he had spent more time here in the studio room and away from us. So I wasn't sure. You know, some signs were better, some signs were worse. And, you know, I didn't know. But I thought in general we were moving forward, and so we packed him up in his carrier and we took him in. And I was starting to tell people, you know, I think this is not a euthanasia appointment. I think this is just a, what is his quality of life? You know, is he in pain? Can he be treated? You know, what's going on? Why are we having, you know, one really bad day? Like, you know, why are we having one day of like a dozen seizures, you know, grand mal followed by, you know, just some really bad ones? And then why is he seemingly growing stronger day by day until he's just our normal Sinatra, and he's running around, he's playing with the babies, he's jumping up on the bed, and he's sleeping with Richard, and he's, you know, wanting attention, and he's really lovey, and he's doing all the good things, right? And then why will he have another really bad day? Why will it seem like maybe he's paralyzed and he's incontinent, and why am I jumping into a bath to make sure that he's clean? And then he starts slowly getting better again. Like, what is happening? What is causing all of this, right? And I'm thinking he's definitely coming home with us. He was, I'm not really explaining these steps. Go back to the last day where I was doing sort of a sweaty makeup, and you'll see these steps. I'll start talking more about what I'm doing when I get to anything that's kind of different. But anyway, getting back to the appointment, he was really fighting. He was making friends with the vet tech. He was rubbing up against her. He was purring. He still wasn't walking, but he was, you know, kind of dragging, hopping himself over to her, rubbing up against her. He was coming over to me. He was grabbing my hand to make sure that he was holding on to me. He was leaning up against me when he didn't really have the strength to stand. He was holding on to Richard. You know, he was doing all the things to show that he wanted to be with us, that he was a good boy, because he was a good boy. He was our good boy, you know? I had him for 14 years. I adopted him as a kitten from the same shelter. And he was such a good boy. He was everything to us. And, you know, we did adopt the babies 5 years ago this October. Well, not so much adopt as just rescue from a cardboard box, but we thought we were just fostering them and never left. So we were foster fails. But anyway, the vet tech took him back to see the vet, kind of went over everything that we'd said, and then the vet came back. And I don't think I need primer. Okay, so this is actually a new product. I'm gonna go over it while I get my stuff back together. This is the Maybelline New York 30-Hour Lumi Matte Foundation. You've kind of seen it all over socials, I'm sure. I was going to reorder some of my normal stuff, but I decided to give this a try since we are going into summer. I got my same shade, the 120, but I liked this one because it had a pump. I've been having issues with getting the right amount out because of my disabilities. Actually, let me go ahead and just wet my sponge first. Just get that out of the way since we do have the pump and we can kind of have more of an exact thing going on. But anyway, yeah, the vet tech took him back, and then the vet came in and she started asking some more questions, and she asked to see some of the videos. And I played the video of, this is quite thin, okay. I played the video of the Grand Mal and the video of the clips that I had shown the online doctor back in January. And she said, okay, you know, I've seen enough. And she says, well, here's what I think is going on. And she explains that a lot of the things could be explained with kind of one major thing, which is a thyroid issue. And she explains that she felt a sort of a enlarged thyroid gland in his neck. And that kind of goes along with what she expects is a brain tumor. Yeah. So that kind of came out of the blue. And she says that she expects these things because a lot of the things that we had been seeing all the way back starting in kind of November with the problem in his gait, the way that his left front leg was kind of showing weakness and was going out on him, the way that he was kind of having trouble staying on the bed, the way he was showing that he was having a hard time. This is absolutely gorgeous. The way that, you know, he was kind of showing that he was having mood changes and the seizures and just kind of everything. She said that she sort of checked his vision and his left eye was not reacting the same way. She says it all ties together, and that, you know, thyroid could be treated with, potentially be treated with medication, but it would have to be given orally at the same time every single day. And then those medications might then affect his kidneys, which with the urinary stuff and the way he's been downing water could potentially mean it, you know, the meds could affect that, and those could already be compromised. And basically, as she's winding down, she's saying that because he has a hard time, because he gives us a hard time with medications, and because he's already showing that he's in pain. Yeah, so apparently we were not testing him in the right places because we didn't know about the neck thyroid thing, and because I was not willing to use enough pressure when I was checking him for pain, I didn't know. So I guess he did show signs of pain to the vet, and yeah, so Sinatra was in pain. We just didn't know. And she kind of gives me this look, and I give Richard a look, and we all kind of decided that, yeah, treatment would be too expensive, too hard on us, on Sinatra, just physically, emotionally, financially, it would be too hard. And it probably wouldn't work because, one, we would not be able to do it properly. We wouldn't be able to do the medications at the same time every single day. We wouldn't be able to get Sinatra to take them. We wouldn't be able to always afford them. And if and when side effects happened, we wouldn't be able to then also add more treatments, afford those treatments, do those treatments properly. And with him being in pain and with everything else that could potentially be going on with him, there was just no way of winning, essentially. So the decision was made, and we went over our options for end of life. So I'm not one that believes that there's value in holding on to cremains. I believe that when we die, and memories are the most important things. So I film videos saying goodbye, I take photos, I treasure those. Obviously, making a video documentation is important to me. I want to be remembered for the things that I put out in the world. When I die, I want whatever remains of me, whatever is important, whatever can be used, I want to be used. And then I want my body to be whatever is left, throw me in a fire, and then put me in one of those pods that turns into a tree or something and let me go. Have a party and remember me, get drunk, whatever, have fun, play videos of me, watch my YouTube videos, whatever, you know, and then just let me go. I wanted the same for Sinatra, but Richard's not the same. So in that moment, I could not say no, and we went for the more expensive option. We're going to be paying for that for a while. My GoFundMe is still open. If you know my other channel, it was the one that I was personally watching YouTube with. The videos are uploaded there of Sinatra, and that is where the GoFundMe updates are. If anyone wants to donate, even small amounts are incredibly helpful. So that is still up. That will remain up for a while. So that is there. We did have a separate cremation for Sinatra, and we will be receiving the ashes, and then I will be putting up a shelf or something, maybe even up here, where we will display his ashes, as well as Richard's cat, Zombie, who passed away several years ago, and we had her remains put into a little, I think, box or something, and he had the paw print done, all of that. So, okay, that's enough with the morbid talk. We are moving on. So, one of the influencers that I follow, Katie, swears that you should do your concealer after blush, bronzer, all that stuff. So we're going to try it Katie's way. So, I'm going to hold off on that. Let's go ahead into some light contour. I'm going to just go ahead in my normal spot. Nothing too exciting. And I'm just going to blend it out like normal. And the eagle-eyed of you will notice that I'm not doing a lot of setting. It's not going to be quite as hot today. So I'm going to see what I can get away with. We are playing just a little. So let's go ahead into our blush now. I'm going in with my purple blush. And just kind of the crazy part of this makeup, I think, is going to be the eyes. I'd actually planned on doing them first, and then I got distracted, which, you know, happens with me quite easily, especially when I have other things on my mind. So I am going in for a lady appointment today, which normally I will just kind of get a random OBGYN to do, but there is a lack of them in my area. So the primary that I've known since before the pandemic is going to do it, which is a little awkward because I like getting the random OBGYNs because I don't know them and will likely not really see them except for maybe any results that I need to get, or if I have to do, you know, implant of birth control down there, then I'll have them do it. So yeah, I mean, I love my doctor. It's not like there's anything that I would, you know, hold against her. I don't think she's going to be very awkward or anything of that nature. I'm not concerned about that. It's just, you know, having somebody go into your lady areas, it's not comfortable in general, you know, it's just, yeah, it's just not comfortable in general. So, all right, let's talk about music. So I kind of brought it up in another video, but I've been listening now to Melina KB. Her newer album, Power Hangry, has been going on repeat with the other album I brought up from Emmeline. So that's also in my head, and I just kind of have them like playing. I kind of put them all into an album or a playlist with 6, and so I've just been playing that playlist over and over again. And since we're in Pride Month, the song Force of Nature has been like really resonating for Pride Month. Okay, so who are your favorite like queer artists or like queer coded artists? I'm really into Real X-Man. If you know him, drop a comment. I'm really digging him. Right, so for brows, I was playing with this the other day. So it's just the e.l.f. brow tinted gel, and it's got like the fibers in it. And I went in without the NYX glue, and it just kind of made them a little fluffy without like super tackiness. So let me know what you guys think. If you like just kind of the less structured, fluffy thing, because I haven't really been giving an F lately about how groomed my brows are, so they have gotten a little fluffy. So I kind of just went for it with these, or with this product. I kind of like leaned into it. So you guys gotta let me know, like, is it like, there are kind of a couple different camps. So because I haven't been super structured recently, what do we think? I don't know. Once I kind of get my brain back to normal, I will go back in and like groom them and do the whole thing. But for what it is, do we like it? Anyway. Okay, so now is when Katie says you can go in with your concealer. So let's try that. And I'm going to go with just a really light hand. Like I said, this is, you know, a woman's health appointment. So it's not like I really need to anybody. I just want to feel like, you know, like I haven't been crying for the last week almost. I don't know. I kind of want to just go in with a smaller sponge. I should wet this. I should wet this water, honestly, to do the blending, but I don't want to get up. Especially since I'm not wearing pants because you guys can't see it. And this isn't the shirt I'm wearing. And, you know, the bra straps. When was it where that was a trend where we purposely just wore the bra strap showing? You guys know that I am totally fine with, like, telling you guys my age. Ooh, is this even gonna blend? This might have gotten too sticky. Did I put the primer? I might have needed a primer in between the, yeah, I might have needed a primer in between the antiperspirant and the foundation. because this might be too sticky to even blend. Foundation went on well because it was, look, I'm pulling off all of the foundation because the foundation was really thin, so I think it was fine. But this thicker concealer, I think I'm gonna need to add a little bit more on my nose because it's standing out a little bit much. A little bit of a Rudolph vibe going on here. Let's go ahead and prime my eyes with what's on the sponge. All right, maybe it works for Katie, or maybe I just need to try it again with a different process, or maybe we're judging too soon and when I set everything it'll be better because we still have to set. So all right, I'm not going to judge it yet, and of course it looks absolutely different in the TikTok camera, so maybe I'm just feeling insecure. Okay, let's go ahead, let's do the eyes in case we have fallout that we're going to have to fix when we set things. Oh, okay, so let's move on. The shirt I'm wearing is blue, and I'm feeling like I want something a little bit bolder for the eyes just to kind of give myself some confidence going into things because I'm having a hard time, and I know you guys understand that. So I'm gonna do blue and purple. I need my favorite color. I'm wearing a blue shirt. I know it's literal, but I need help, you guys. I know you understand that. When you're already struggling with depression and anxiety and your mental health is already unstable, and then you go through something like this, it's hard. All right, so I'm gonna go into my LA Colors, my LA Colors palette, go into a medium blue matte, shake off some powder. I'm gonna use my hand mirror here because I'm not trusting these cameras. All right, and just for clarity, I'm at a 1.2 in the YouTube camera, and the filter is off on the TikTok camera. All right, oof. We are Patch City, and that might be because I used the concealer, but okay, we're getting a little bit better. Still patchy, but we'll get there. Instant fallout. So if you load up your brush with enough to get pigment, you get fallout, and if you don't, you get a lot of patchiness, but we'll get there. We'll build it up. We'll deal with the fallout. It's okay. Now, I did mention in a previous video that, yeah, you're going to get some patchiness. Yeah, it's going to take longer to build up color and stuff when you're using a less expensive product. And, that's fine because that's your trade-off. But sometimes, you can still get a better product for the same price. So when I do kind of critique a product that is inexpensive like this, and I'm saying, gosh, this is patchy or whatever, that's because I have products at a very similar price point that are not as patchy or less pigmented or, whatever I may be calling it out for. All right, I think that's about as good as that base is gonna get, so I'm just gonna repeat it on the other side. And I do not go into these looks with any idea of what I'm gonna do. I kind of just let the colors and the finishes themselves kind of tell me what they want to do. So with this one, because it is going on so patchy, it's telling me that I'm gonna need to build over it. So it's telling me that to deal with this, I'm probably gonna want to use a shimmer over the entire eye to cover up that patchiness. It's telling me that I might even want to kind of add a sort of halo to, again, work with that patchiness. So I'm probably going to build a halo using some purples. And then I'm probably going to go with a lavender, maybe a lavender shimmer if I have one in the inner corner. Well, I don't know. I don't have a blue shade that actually matches my shirt. So if I'm going to not match, then I might as well not match entirely. So I think maybe I'll stay kind of in this mid-tone range. So maybe I won't go purple. Maybe I'll stay closer to, not lavender, like lilac. Lilac's sort of this mid-tone. I'll have to see what I actually have in my collection. I'd considered going a lot darker now that I'm looking at how this is laying, because the shirt I'm wearing is a true royal blue. I don't really have that. Okay, that's as good as these are gonna get. So let's look at what I have. I had initially pulled out this palette. See, I was looking at especially these two here. This is the closest color I own to what the shirt looks like. I may still do that. I don't know. And this palette. Wait a minute. Are you seeing this? Okay, so in real life, this looks like a purple. On camera, on both cameras, this is showing up blue. Wait, do those shimmers match? What? They look so different in person. I mean, I do see a blue reflect in this, but in this, it shows purple with blue reflect. But on camera, it is blue. That just changed my entire thought process. Well, now I have to use it. I need to put something on my lips right now. Okay, I'm getting way up close and personal with y'all. Do you see all the damage I've done? I've been pulling at it because it hurts and I'm stressed and it's one of my SH behaviors. So let me just throw a lip oil on real quick. Just use that. This is the pH changing one, but it'll go on underneath what I'm doing anyway. All right, now that I've completely changed my idea, what's underneath is really kind of a moot point anyway. Okay, brushes. What brushes will I need? Okay, I wasn't talking, but did you see the change happen? Kind of. All right, I am cleaning this brush off. So I noticed when I was editing yesterday that TikTok can see what I'm doing, but YouTube, I need to lift higher sometimes when I'm doing stuff. Okay, well, we'll go into this palette and go into this purple up here in the corner. It is called Indigo Snow. And this is the Wolf Calls palette from She Glam. And we are desperately going to darken this corner here. Kind of my normal pattern. I'm not going to halo, am I? Yes, I am going to halo it. Okay, so we're going to deepen the outer roughly third and sort of wing out a little bit this outer V. So, and I'm very gently, not massively, but just slightly coming in underneath the eyelid a little bit and coming up onto the eyelid. Not maybe a fourth. I'm not doing a ton onto the lid this time. Just a little bit and coming up over the crease. Something like that. And then we're going to not go into the inner corner. We're actually stopping before we get there, but we are darkening the area of the eyelid that gets before there. And we're coming up above the crease, creating kind of like a bracket, like a parentheses that's coming above the crease and then onto the eyelid. See that? All right, and you see how this is going on very saturated. She Glam and LA Colors are similar in price point. LA Colors is probably a little less expensive, maybe $1 or $2 for a similar size palette, but the quality is night and day. So when I talk about how patchy, how the fallout is an issue, this is what I'm talking about. It could be this quality. It's just not. All right, now I'm gonna repeat it on the other side and I'll be back. All right, and I'm jumping back in here because sometimes when your brain's not part of your body, you can stop paying attention and overdo a few things. So let's go ahead and clean up some of the places where things look a little uneven. All right, so I've got some micellar water on a Q-tip and we're gonna go ahead and clean up some places where things aren't quite identical. And things don't have to always be very identical, but they should be at least sisters. So if you see, I went a little bit crazy on this outer V. So I'm just gonna act like that didn't happen. And I'm just going to clean it up a little bit like that. And over here, we had that fallout. So I am going to flip to the other side onto the micellar water, let it get a little bit, and we're gonna clean up that fallout. Just like that. Now, thankfully, we still have a little bit on our sponge. We're gonna go back in and we're gonna put whatever we needed right back on like that. So now we're pretty similar. And now I'm gonna go in with this nice creamy shimmer. And I'm gonna fill in all the space that's left on that center of the lid. And I'm gonna fill it all the way up. I'm not worried too much about blending yet because we're gonna go back in with one of our blending brushes. But we're just kind of filling in that gap. Gonna go all the way to the lash line and all the way, not quite to our brow as you see, but all the way to the top of that bracket over the crease. We do still have that gap open, but we're gonna fill it in. And we're gonna do the same on the other side. So if you weren't fully precise with that shape, that's fine, because now we're blending it in and it doesn't fully matter. As you see, it kind of just blends together. The only thing that makes a difference is that in here it's a little bit bluer. Where it blends together, it's a little pinker, or little purpler. And do I cut out those moments? No, because it's part of my disability. I have issues with words. I have issues with saying the wrong thing. In the video just before this, I had a really funny one. So we know this is my holy grail. Moonlight Magic Palette from Profusion Cosmetics. I have sort of pathetically begged, in a way, for them to one day be my sponsor. Because one day, in my mind, I will be successful enough for them to do this, right? So I know this palette, I love this palette, I know the brand, and yet, when I did my random number generator, I showed the beauty chest from Profusion, I held up my Morphe palette, and then I held this up and called this the Profusion chest. Not the Profusion palette, not the Profusion Moonlight Magic palette, none of the above, the Profusion chest. Why? Because I just said beauty chest. And sometimes my brain doesn't like to work in the way I think it should. It happens, okay? I have fibromyalgia. I am 43. The medications I'm on, the cyst on my brain, probably the arachnoid cyst, I mean, all kinds of things and all kinds of my diagnoses, my non-epileptic seizures, literally everything goes against me. My grandmother on my father's side had dementia. I mean, the cards are stacked, right? My mother died of cardiorespiratory collapse with schizoaffective disorder. Those kinds of things do not go on a death certificate unless it was a complication at the time of death. So if my brain glitches, there's a good reason for it. And it is part of why I was declared disabled in my very early 30s. So for probably nearly 13 years at this point, my brain has been Swiss cheese enough that the government has looked at me and said, yeah, you're too defective to work. And yes, there are physical things that go into it. There are other issues like PTSD that have gone into that determination. So yeah, I mean, there are lots of things that go into this, but you know, I leave those in there because they make me, I think, relatable and human, and they make it so that I have some authority to speak on disabilities, you know. But let's keep going. All right, so we're gonna go into this shimmer that I think is purple with blue reflex, and the cameras and lights seem to think is blue. So it is called Wrath, and I am going to get a decent amount on my finger, and we are going to go into this inner corner that still has a bit of that blue, and we're just gonna cover it up like so, right into the corner. And it went a little bigger over there. It's supposed to look a little more like that, just into the corner. This one went a little crazy, but you know what? We know how to fix that, don't we? I'm kind of okay with it, but I think it's a little much for the doctor's office. So we're just gonna, okay, come on now. You don't need to be so mean. All right, you're gonna take a little bit more than a Q-tip, I see. That's all right. That's what this is for. Little cotton pad. Gonna go in, kind of fold it up so we get a point, and we kind of lost everything. That's okay. So we're gonna let it dry, and then we're just gonna go in with a little bit of concealer, and we're just gonna tap that in. It's the inner corner of the nose. It's okay. Let's see. All right, we're gonna get a little less in our finger this time and just tap it gently over what we just did, and we've got it better. Okay, now that everything's kind of in place where we want it, now I'm gonna look for one of our fluffy blending brushes right here with our little rubber grips, and now I'm going to just gently go over those edges, and we'll just get a little bit of smoothness. All right, I'm gonna check the time, make sure I'm okay here. Yeah, we're good. One thing about me, I have a horrible sense of time. All right, just a little bit of smoothing. Is this a little dramatic? Yeah. Am I a little dramatic? Yeah, so it's good. Okay, so now I think I'm gonna go back in with that same purple that we used, and I'm just gonna sweep using a sharply angled brush. Again, these brushes are from Echo Tools. They're probably my favorite brush brand. All right, so while I do have an issue with, you know what? All right, so while I do have that sort of speech thing going on because of my Swiss cheese brain, I do have a little bit more of an impediment right now because, so I have a pretty severe allergy to menthol. And I kind of briefly went over this before when I mentioned how yellow my teeth are and how it's kind of a problem if I'm going to be like showing off lip gloss and all that kind of thing. But I have had some pretty bad issues with my back molar here. And one of the worst things about it is that I recently had to have a root canal, and they did not immediately put a crown on. And I was supposed to have a crown put on this weekend on the 7th, and they had to push it back. It's now the 21st. And so when they put the temporary filling on top, it got pushed to the side. So I have a very sharp, like shaved down tooth that's exposed. And my tongue kept getting caught on it and getting these tiny cuts on the underside of my tongue. It was swelling, it was bad. So I found these things on Amazon, and they're these little plastic beads that when you heat them up in hot water, they get really soft and pliable, and you can kind of create your own like plastic denture thing that goes kind of over the top. And I've got one on now that's not perfect. I really, if I have time, I'm going to make a new one. I've made several because they're really rinky dink, but right now I've got one in, and it's a little loose because last night, or yesterday, 2 nights ago maybe, the temporary filling came out. So now I've got an even bigger hole, and this one no longer fits very well. But yeah, so this is what it looks like. That's the impression of my teeth. And it just is this really flimsy, thin plastic cap that I put over it. So yeah, some of the words that have a placement of my tongue that goes up against this, they're harder to say. So the brush, blush, anything that kind of has that B sound is being obstructed by this. So I'm gonna throw this back in. I have a makeup wipe down here. I'm, you know, keeping it kind of clean. But so I'm gonna pop this back in and keep going. I just kind of bite it down into place. All right, so brush, brand, B sounds. That's why I'm having trouble. Okay, sweeping this purple underneath my eyes because what, Lindsay fans? You don't look weird with eyeshadow under your face. Let's retake that one. So what, Lindsay fans? You don't look weird with eyeshadow under your eyes. You're just not used to it. And I'm just going to very gently soften that line. And the other side. Okay, So now I'm going to set my blush, she says, without having a blush brush ready. But I think I'm going to set it with a blush I don't use very often. I'm going to go into this shimmery one over here to kind of tie in the shimmers and just to have a little more fun. So I'm just gonna do a little bit up here where we had our cream blush. Okay, and now I'm gonna just set under my eyes with our pink powder. This is gonna be fun with my little fan going on, but so this is gonna kind of tie in both the concealer and the blush. And this is why Katie was saying that she does the concealer after her blush and stuff, because this is where the concealer is, kind of in this area. And I guess it kind of sets it all together, and she likes that brightness there. I don't know if it makes much of a difference, but maybe it does. And I guess if I'm not really setting the whole face with powder, just this kind of like T-zone area, maybe it's fine. So I am going to be setting the whole face. I'm just not setting the whole face with powder. I'm just setting the areas that I have the concealer, because those are the areas that I get the most red, the areas that I sweat. So maybe there is something to it. Okay, now that the under eye is set, let's go ahead. I'm going to curl just my left lashes. And maybe I should have pointed this out before I put all the heavy eye makeup on. But let's see if I can't get really close in here. But this side, I wake up, my lashes are curled. This side, they are super flat. And I've mentioned how non-symmetrical my face is. It includes that my lashes don't even curl on this side. So we're gonna go ahead and curl them a little bit, but then we're gonna try a new to me product. So we're gonna be trying the Maybelline New York, the Colossal Curl Bounce Mascara. And I had to order this because going into summer and also just, you know, having a pet move on, I need something waterproof. Now, is it gonna make much of a difference if I start crying with all of this eye makeup on anyway? No, it's going to leave trails. But in general, curls will hold better with a waterproof mascara. So I figured if I'm having trouble with this side curling anyway, let's do a curling mascara. Let's curl the lashes on that side, and let's do it waterproof. So if anything is gonna hold a curl on this side, this is gonna do it. So this is a first impressions. I don't know how long this has been on the market, but it's new to me. So, and I was just kind of mixing it for the first time. I don't recommend pumping your mascara all the time, but just for the first use to get it incorporated. This has been sitting on a shelf somewhere before it got to me. So let's test it out. This is a nice curvy wand. So we'll see. So I'm starting at the base, doing my typical wiggle and flick. I did not do my research on this one, so I don't know if it's a tubing. I don't think it is. I don't know that I got a lot on my brush here. Let's try again. I'm gonna move closer to y'all too. All right, now I am seeing some more. I think it's just very stiff. Or maybe thick would be a better word to describe it. I'm not sure. All right, well, I've been adding a couple. All right, well, first impressions aren't great, but we'll give it a shot. That's one coat. I'll do my right side, and then I'll come back and add another coat, and we'll see what's happening. And then maybe I'll look it up and see, because I'm almost wondering if there's supposed to be like fibers in it. I almost feel like either that, or maybe it's just stealing my own eyelashes, but I feel like it was leaving eyelashes on my face. I'm liking it better on this side, so maybe I just needed to mix it a little bit better. Of course, this is my better side, so take that with a grain of salt. I am seeing clumping. It's a very dry mascara so far. I don't know. You guys notice I'm kind of switching up my technique here because it's not really gripping my lashes. It's just kind of, yeah, it's very dry. I don't know. Let me keep mixing. Maybe bounce curl. So it is supposed to help with, I don't know. Is this anybody's favorite mascara? Somebody let me know. Maybe there's a trick to it. Okay, going in with a second coat on the left. I'm just seeing clumps everywhere. It's not gripping at all. And I just got it on my nose. I feel like I was completely off camera on the TikTok one. I apologize. Of course, I was also quiet, so I probably wasn't, like, I probably completely cut it out anyway. Well, as predicted, it looks better on the right. It's less clumpy, but I'm gonna have to fix it on the left. And it's on my nose. So, let's see if we can kind of fix it on the left, and then we'll try to fix it on the nose. So try to comb through the left, see if we can't break up some of these clumps. All right, I have half an hour until my appointment, so we're doing good, because after this, we're just doing lips. I think this is making it worse. Oh God. See how I've got, yes, you can see it at this angle. So this is much better, but still slightly clumpy, and then this, I've got like 12 eyelashes, because it's all clumped together. Let's see if we can brush this off at least. Seriously, I'm already over this, and it's a first impression. All right, let me fix this, and then we'll do lips. All right, you guys, I have a bone to pick. Who let me forget highlighter? Is nobody gonna fess up? Rude, just rude. All right. We're gonna go in with the little guy today because I just can't be bothered to fix my other one right now. Let's go back with it. I almost never use the steeper shade because I am very pale, but let's just go with it. I did some bronzing today, so we're gonna hit the top of the cheeks, gonna go down the nose, hit the little bottom, over the cupid's bow, and the brow bone. Okay, finishing touches. We're going to wipe off any remaining oil on the lips. As I said, this is a pH changing one, so it is that bubblegum pink, bordering on magenta. All right, so I am going to go in with the lip combo I wish I had gotten. Lips are so dry still. Anyway, no time to fix it. With the number generator, but this is the Lifter Gloss from Maybelline. Pause for a minute. And I hit stop instead of pause on the TikTok camera. So I need to quickly, very quickly, sharpen this. Now, I had to buy a sharpener specifically for makeup brushes, or makeup pencils, because we had an issue before. So I just picked up this double-ended, or double-sided, sized L'Oreal one. But this is the Maybelline Lifter Liner in the color Lift, on Big Lift. Just going to do a quick line. All right. Next, I'm going in with the Maybelline Vinyl Ink lipstick in the shade 35 Cheeky. One swipe color and glossy shine. Love these. And I'm going to let that dry a little bit as I pull down my hair. My alarm went off while I was getting the sharpener ready, so I've got to hurry just a little bit. I think I'm going to wear my hair half up, half down, but I got to change, so we'll pull this down for a quick last look. And then topping it off with the Lifter Gloss in the shade 021 Gummy Bear. Yeah, I think it's the same scent for all of them. I was hoping this one would actually smell like Gummy Bear when I got it, but I don't know if this is the perfect combo of all of these. I just kind of chose them because I like them, but let's go ahead and top this off, and that'll be the look. Now, obviously the vinyl inks do have a gloss to them, and they don't really need it, but if you wanted the extra shine and hydration, these do have hyaluronic acid in them, so I like to pop it over the top. And the very last thing is to set all of this. All right, guys, that is it. So stay safe, be kind to yourself. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.